Hello everyone, welcome. This is Kogi Gitui. I'm the author of two books, The Unscrambled Manifesto of Africa and War on Corruption, books that you can order now from Amazon.com. Order your soft copy or your hardcover copy. Thank you very much. Today let me indulge you in talking about the technology integration, a topic I have discussed at length. I hope I shall be able to summarize it fast enough, but also deliver the points well enough. In my bachelor's course, I got to learn about various ways of controlling pests, or what may be highly called pest management. There were diverse ways such as use of chemical pesticides, natural or organic pesticides, mechanical methods such as use of traps, and natural enemies methods where the natural enemy of the pest is bred and released onto pest infested areas so that they can kill the pest, and others. But there was always a proposition of an integrated strategy. It was called integrated pest management that sought to employ all these methods either in combination, sequentially, or simultaneously, depending on some laid protocols. For instance, 2 or 3 plants with a disease manifestation or pest infection should not warrant the use of chemical pesticide. Such an onset can be controlled by either physical removal of the plants and banning the infested plant, or use of herbal pesticides such as Mexican marigold. However, if there is an increased infestation, then both natural pesticides and natural enemies might be introduced, and above a certain threshold of infestation, the chemical pesticides can be used as a last resort. Such a strategy ensured there is no overuse of chemical pesticides, which when overused, can lead to residual poisoning or development of resistance to bring up novel nuisance pests. Technology integration theory follows the same logic. The young scientists should be able to integrate diverse technologies in various scientific fields that one meets as distinct, isolated from each other, and integrate them to follow a synergistic protocol to achieve a particular goal. In today's curricula, there is an emphasis on always proposing for new advancements. New technologies are applauded without being subjected to some measure of critique against old time tested ways. For instance, a young scientist may develop a new technology of monitoring the perpendicular straightness of a building just to find his novel invention ignored just because of the reliability and tested prowess of the plumb line. The plumb line, or the kafiro, invented thousands of years ago and said to have been in use in Egypt empires of the ancient. If we live to train the new young scientist, we must also let him get acquainted to the basics of technologies. The old is gold that have long existed. By doing so, the young scientists can develop components that may integrate the already and new ones to benefit humanity. For it is said, do not reinvent the wheel. But once the wheel was invented, various modern technologies use the mechanics of wheels to perform diverse tasks, such as in watches, gears, vehicles, escalators, conveyor belts, manufacturing industries, and so forth. If we want to train an engineer, let's start from the first simple engine, not hiding the details of smelting the molding engine. This is very important. The engineer needs to know how to mold an engine from the metal base. An electrician, let's start with how one can generate electricity from a simple waterfall and how to make the generator. The biologist Let's talk about how to make a simple microscope, or how to do Mendelian type of breeding, or how to make crude penicillin or drugs from herbal trees, etc. We must not forget the beginning, for as Van Goethe said, in the beginning is the deed. This appreciation of how various prototype models were made and came into being is the missing link of producing young scientists that are not only scholars of science but are inventors, innovators, improvisers, and discoverers of new technologies. The learning of how it was done in a simplistic or basic new way cannot be underestimated. This is because African scientists researching in the internet or how developed countries perform certain technology may prove overwhelming and demotivating to the young scientists. For instance, a look at today's vehicle engine with myriad parts mostly fabricated and joined by robots can drive the young engineer to melancholy, since in Africa he has no financial or industrial muscle to copy such. However, a study into the fast or simple engines can encourage one to copy or modify and then develop slowly similar protocols of automation of one's manual prototype after tests of superiority. It is a gigantian task to try to train one to start making engines with imported robots without understanding how it was first made. Similarly, a biotechnologist wishing to start genetic modification and plant breeding, prying in the internet, can be overwhelmed by the use of sophisticated machines and use of sinisterly named enzymes, endonucleases, such as E. coli, used to cut DNA, and other ligases that join DNA to make recombinants with desired qualities. At a glance, one might think that these enzymes work in perfection and they can only be acquired from abroad. But these enzymes are isolated from bacteria and other microorganisms. Again, the entire 844 curriculum does not show the young scientists how to isolate these, how to harvest them, how to source for new ones. It coldly advocates for the use of already isolated ones. Now where does this leave the young scientist who wants to conquer areas hitherto unconquered? We need to study the important areas, not the enzymes that cuts or ligates a DNA, but how to get such an enzyme, what properties to look for, not how to use the Agrobacterium tumefaciens to introduce new genetic traits in plants, but the thinking behind how to isolate such bacterial plasmid, the properties that made it qualify, how to search for such bacteria, and how to prepare them for use in genetic modification. The African young scientists will be happy to know that all these bacteria, viruses, and other microorganisms have the potential to be used in biotechnology or occur naturally here. In fact, they might just be outside your house, ready to be used for our service in the noble one to benefit humanity. Therefore, the change must be made to an emphasis on how to come up with such a product, such a process, and not how to state and memorize the use of such products or regurgitate how such a process works in the developed countries. And for such a change to occur, the very old basic must be studied, given as an example to try and build or produce an evolution from there while mimicking but never worshipping the new sophisticated evolution in the developed countries. This world lacks the African scientific touch. We know of the Asian touch, we know the European touch, the Americas, and so forth, but we lack the African touch, which can only occur if we expose the young scientists to primitive, as old as they were, technologies and require of them to fasten technological evolution in their own way to yield African tailor-made sophisticated technologies well fitting for use in Africa. For in the end, evolution takes place even in scientific technologies via integration, but also keen to geographical assimilation, as it is well known that the marsupials, such as kangaroos, rule the Australia, but not Africa. This Africa is a land of mammals. We need synthesized technologies made in Africa to build Africa. This is very important. The ball is in everybody's court. This is what we require of a young scientists. We hope that we hope that with this we may challenge the young scientists to conquer various fields hitherto unconquered. Thank you very much. I wish you a great day. This is Kogi Gitui, your author. Thank you.